What is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another event video here on Marvel Strike Force. Are you ready for the Swamp Showdown? Because of course, it wouldn't be a Swamp Showdown without Nimrod, right? So no, not Man Thing, Nimrod. Because today is, or sorry, this video, anyways, is going to be telling you everything that you need to know in order to get Nimrod unlocked. If you don't already, I got a mixture of good luck and I did some coring for Nimrod because I just really wanted to have him. But in this event, you are going to be getting up to 100 shards. However, it is going to be not very friendly for new and mid game players. It will be fairly easy for characters for players, sorry, who are kind of more towards the veteran end game side of things because of the amount of points that you'll be able to collect pretty easily. But otherwise, in this video, you'll find everything you need to know to get him. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. So before we get started, though, I just want to do a very quick recap of Midnight Hunt. Oh yeah, it is called Midnight. I don't know why I said that. The October month long. So it is 1 million points required. We are on week 3 right now with Swamp Showdown and Night Raid coming back, and we're at a grand total of 810,000. Now, this is not what you're going to have. This is just if you collected all the points that would be available, that's where you'd be at. There is still 2 more weeks to go, however, and there is a reduction in points to 100k for Swamp Showdown versus 150 from the previous events. That's just how they decided to run it, I guess. Other than that, everything else is going to be the same. So let's talk about Swamp Showdown. Although, before we dive into this, I do want to talk about the charts and what you're going to get. And I do want to do a quick nod to Night Raid, because they've changed this a little bit. This is the Alliance event. It's actually changed a little bit from the usuals, because they have moved the purple ions, the T3 level 1 ions, to Milestone 20 at 1.25 million. So it used to be here at Milestone 19 at 1.09 million. So it is 160k more points for you. I think they just changed the diamond orbs with the purple ions. This was brought to my attention, and so I just want to share this with you guys in case you're in an alliance that's kind of like, you can't quite get Milestone 20. It's unfortunate that they've shifted that to the back. They've kind of pulled up the drawbridge on that one. And of course, I do want to talk about the various milestones in the Swamp Showdown event here, and that you're going to get. Basically, it's I would say it's somewhat easy to get the 60 shards for Nimrod, but getting that extra 40 is going to be challenging for some people. And really, this is going to depend on how much cores that you want to put into this event. And so for me personally, because I have a lot of these characters that give you points down here, for my main account, I am actually going to kind of pull back a little bit on my coring for this event, because I'm going to get a lot of the points that I need from over here. It is also not a leaderboard event, so do keep that in mind. But let's go talk about the numbers. So this is a 7-day event that requires showcase energy. Every week is going to have showcase energy, so you can't hoard that stuff. The Alliance donations, which is going to get you the candies, of course. ISO 8 energy for the Swamp Showdown, or whatever it's called, the Swamp Orb, and war battles with those characters. Now, they are changing. I mentioned this before. They changed the system so you can get points for having these characters on defense. How it works is that they're going to calculate, if it works properly, they're going to calculate when you go into the war. If you have them on your defense, you're going to get the ping and you're going to get the points for that. So hopefully it works properly. Guess we'll find out when this goes live on Monday. Total milestone points required is 290,000. You're not getting there, of course, but the event item is at 60,000, which is milestone 13. And you need 103,000 if you want the 100 Nimrod shards. So this might be doable for some and not doable for others. Free claim, it's probably going to be 500 points a day, but I fill this in later on. Total web milestone points. This is a lot less than in previous events. This is 11,000 points for the same 400,000 candy spent in order to get this done. Now, I'm going to have a separate video on Monday when the store reset happens, because we're going to be talking about Captain Britain, what his prices for candy is going to be, and that kind of stuff, whether or not is worth it. Well, whether or not how many shards we're going to be getting and how much it's going to cost to unlock, all of that kind of math. I'm going to break that down on Monday in a separate video. Nonetheless, this should be pretty easy. They did fix the Previously, it was like it said 6 days in the blog or like in game, and then they changed it to 7 days. So you do get the full 7 days to spend 400,000 candy. So that shouldn't be much of a problem as long as you're hitting those boxes. I'm not going to bring the box stuff up again. I did it for the last 2 weeks, but you guys should know what the drill is by now with Alliance donations. Now let's talk about Showcase Energy. So if you are doing 200 cores daily on Showcase Energy, you're going to get, unfortunately now they've reduced it from 10 points to 6 points per energy. So instead of getting what would have been, a lot more, now you're getting about this much daily. So this is about 4,100 points a day. If you're doing 200 cores, you're roughly going to be spending about 688 Showcase Energy, which is your cores, your core refreshing, and your daily time based energy. Now multiply this by 7 days, you're getting about 29,000 points, and that's going to be about 1,400 cores over the 7 days. So that alone is not a huge deal. And also, if you do happen to have Blade unlocked, you can still farm that Chapter 2 mission that has like 200 energy you can put into candy. So that's what I'm currently doing because I got lucky, actually. I don't know if I mentioned this, but yeah, my main account got lucky and I hit a jackpot on Blade, one of those stupid orbs. So lucky me. And then for my alt account, I cored for Blade because that was stupid as well and wasn't really worth it. Now I wish I had Oath. Anyways, that's a separate story. These are the war bonus points here. You do need to use them 10 times to get to the limit. There's going to be 3 wars, which means that if you want all of the points, you need 4 characters. We're going to talk about some of the best characters to build. I'm doing it like this because I don't recommend that you go out of your way to build these characters for this event. If they are characters that you're going to be using for Dark Dimension 7 or 8, fine. But just for the purposes of the event, please do not waste your red gear and things like that just for this. But I'm going to bring talk about each 3 of the teams and which characters that I personally recommend after we kind of go through this. All the points is there. And for the purposes of this video, like I don't know who has what, right? Like, and that's the same thing I did last time in the last week's video for Twilight Vigil. We'll talk about that though. The ISO 8 energy, this is going to be the points for that too. I have put down a 4-to-1 ratio. Now, I did put a 4-to-1 ratio last time for campaign energy, but that was at the 10-to-1 showcase energy. They've reduced showcase energy to 6 from 10, and so for that reason, I think that the ISO 8 energy is the orb fragments is going to be probably 4. It could be better, and so again, I'm being conservative at 4-to-1. I'm hoping it's 4-to-1 at least. This orb is actually going to be pretty decent. So the orb related to ISO 8, the swamp orb or whatever, is going to contain sentinel shards and annihilator shards. I don't know, what percentage is going to be, but I know that from the data mines, that's what the orb shows from the event text. And so I think that this is something that you're going to want to do. If you were thinking of pulling back your cores, I would do it probably from the showcase energy, because I think that you're going to get more value out of the swamp orb because of the characters that are in that orb. But, I'll cover that on Monday with the Captain Britain stuff as well in an update. So there you go, an additional 31,600 points if it's a 4-to-1 ratio and you're doing 200 cores daily in ISO 8 energy. Like last time, they're really trying to get you to spend that 400 cores daily, although it's not necessary as long as you have the bonus points. If you don't, then yeah, you might have to do the 400 cores daily if you want to get those Nimrod shards, if those are what matters to you. So I wanted to talk about 3 scenarios. This is reasonable points total, no gear. If you don't have any of those characters at G17, 18, or 19, then you're looking at 71,500. This is milestone 13, which will get you the event item. Reasonable point total for a G18 gear is about 125,000. Now, I'm assuming that you have enough characters to clear G18 on both of these, and we'll take a look at those characters later on. And I'm not assuming that you're going to do that, but I just wanted to share you that as well. And 125,000 is exactly milestone 16. I forgot to write that in actually, milestone 16. So there you go, milestone 16 for that. And if you have all of the characters at G19, you'll get 161,000, which is milestone 17, which is actually 11,000 higher than milestone 17. So you will have some surplus, and which means that you actually don't need all of them at G19 in order to get yourself there. So you could probably do it with a little bit less. And this does not include the free claim. So yeah, you probably could. But that actually is really interesting because it shows how far you can get on these milestones now, because the Twilight Vigil, I actually got to milestone 17 on my main account. So, there is a potential for you to get pretty far and to, I guess, reward veteran players with their gear tier, which is strange because they were doing yellow stars before, right? And so in some ways, it's a little bit better for those veteran players to be able to push further on these events free to play. So that part is good. My notes is there's a huge range on potential points for this milestone, depending on how many cores you spend. Also, a pretty huge variance in points for usage of the 3 war teams, which give a lot of points. Depending on your milestone goal, you could even not core that much. So for me, because I have a lot of these characters already built, from the war team points, I'm not going to be coring as much for this. But the Swamp Army Orb does contain Sentinel and Annihilator, so maybe you might want to consider at least doing the cores into the ISO 8 energy. The orb might be good, but we'll check that out on Monday as well. Now, for the rest of the video, I just want to talk a little bit about these characters. If you're interested in building them, then who I would personally recommend. And once again, I do want to state that I would not go out of your way to G18 or G19 these characters unnecessarily, only if you want to build them for Dark Dimension, things like that. Now I'm going to start with Out of Time. I wouldn't personally recommend Black Knight anymore for Dark Dimension 7. I don't think it's highly necessary because I think there is Extreme X-Men and Orcus now that you can choose for Dark Dimension 7 Global. Black Knight is a great character, but I think he was a product of his time, no pun intended. And so I would probably take him to G18 for sure for like Dark Dimension 6, but I don't know about Dark Dimension 7. I don't think I would take him all the way to G19. Cosmic Ghost Rider is someone I took to DD7, and actually he was very good. I actually really like Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think he's a bit of a sleeper character. I would for sure take him to G18 as well. G19 now with Annihilators, I think there still is space for him, honestly. But I wouldn't go out of your way unless you're planning on doing that. So for DD7 Cosmic, I would have thought of like the 3 Annihilators with Vol, and then Cosmic Ghost Rider, honestly, personally. So there is still space for him. The rest of them, not really. If you have the gear, go for G18, but I definitely would not take them up to G19. This is a team, however, for the Old Man Logan's trial, if you still don't have 7 yellow on him. And speaking of Old Man Logan, we have Mercs for Money. Now, because of the mess up with Pocket Dimension, I had a huge surplus of gold. And so I went out of my way to actually max out Dakin and Pandapool, which I never thought I would ever do, because I don't normally do this for war characters. As far as the best characters on the team, it's obviously Old Man Logan. But if you are considering any other characters after that, I would not do this, though, for Dark Dimension. They do not have Dark Dimension value. But if you have a lot of surplus resources, then Dakin and Pandapool obviously are going to be the best other characters to bring up afterwards. You may have Deathpool to G17 because of the MSF original and using for Apocalypse. But yeah, I did this. Don't G19 Deathpool now. I don't think it's worth it. I just did it then because I had the particular resources and uniques to do it to get through. That was my personal recommendation for Mercs for Money. And finally, we have the Superior 6. So it's not the Sinister 6, it's only the Superior 6. So keep that in mind. The two, obviously, that stand out the most is going to be Green Goblin Classic and Doc Ock. They're required for a DD Legendary. Most people do take at least Green Goblin Classic, and a lot of people still do take up Doc Ock. He is expensive now, especially in a time where we have tech characters with Orcus, but it's really up to you. Either way, Green Goblin Classic for sure. And actually, a lot of people take Lizard. I think Lizard's a really great character. I think, plug and play because of the turn bar that he gets from again, fighting Spider Society characters is really great. I wouldn't necessarily G19 him, but definitely I think actually all these characters are... I find Spider Slayer a bit weird. I gotta admit. I don't use him as much as the others. That's just me. But Kraven for sure and Lizard to like G18. That's absolutely something that you should do. And Doc Ock as well, if you're not going to G19 him, but I think GGC is definitely the highest candidate there for Gear Tier 19. And that wraps up the 3 teams for my recommendations for building. Again, don't go out of your way to do this just for this event. Do it if you're going to like double dip, if there's a reason for you to do it, whether it's Dark Dimension 6, 7, or 8, that kind of thing. But don't do it specifically for the event because your gear is worth more than just a one-time event. Anyways, that's all for this event for Swamp Showdown for Nimrod. Not Man-Thing, but, who knows? Maybe we will get a Man-Thing event soon around the corner. I don't know who's going to be the character for Night Stalkers that's going to be getting the event, but that's going to be it for me for this Sunday. I hope this was helpful. Otherwise, on Monday, I will be posting up the tables on my Discord server as usual, so make sure you're there to keep an eye on what's going on in Marvel Strike Force. That's going to be it for now. And until next time, stay safe and healthy. And I'll see y'all later. Boilon, signing out.